different elements of supply chain management we have studied in our previous sessions. Now we are going to start our session with a broad understanding of supply chain management life cycle, and which is passing through the 3 stages mainly. And what are those 3 stages? First is formation. We are forming the supply chain management. We are establishing the supply chain procedures, policies, plans in place. Once the whole strategy is finalized, when the things are implemented on ground, things are realized, that completes the process of formation. Afterwards, operations of supply chain starts. So we start working under the umbrella of project life cycle stage 2, which is called operations. And the 3rd stage is extinction. If you see in the extinction, it's nothing but the start of another formation. Because you are closing one supply chain, but the business is not getting stopped. The operations are not getting stopped. In majority of the cases, we are migrating to the another business models. And for that business models, we are again creating, or we are formatting, or we are creating a formation of another supply chain life cycle, meeting that business requirement. So basically, it's a circular loop where we keep changing our lifestyle, our supply chain life cycle strategies, patterns, procedures, business models, but it's a circular path. Each step is critical to next step. Even extinction is critical to the next formation and the overall success for the supply chain and the overall continuity of the business. Correct? Why and so? Because supply chain helps you to be in a business for a long duration. And when I say the business in long duration, meaning your business is sustainable. You may keep changing your products, you may keep changing your deliveries, you may keep changing your services, but you remain in business. Your business model is sustainable. And to keep the business model sustainable, you keep changing your products, you keep changing your services so that you are acceptable, you are always working in relevance to customer demand. You are providing the customer what they need, and accordingly, you, as per the customer's need, you are changing your type of product production or type of services you are providing. So to have a continuity of business, it becomes extinction to formation journey. So these are broadly 3 stages of supply chain. Now we will look for the types of supply chain management. Okay. First type, a linear supply chain. You will find little difference between the stage and the type, and that will understand when we complete the type session. A linear supply chain simply describes a straight path from raw material to production and finally consumption by the customers and to disposal. Means once your product is being used by your customers, ultimately it goes to a disposal path. And this is not very cost effective because the product is being discarded by the customer or your consumer. And that discarded product is not coming back to supply chain. Rather, it can be used in just the landfill. That's called linear supply chain. And because the value is not being extracted, the residual value remained in that product is not being extracted because it is being just used in the landfill. That's why this linear supply chain is not considered to be cost effective. Circular supply chain, a model that encourages manufacturers and sellers of the product to take discarded materials and remake them for resale. The traditional model of take, make, and throw away is an economic dead end and is costing business as they struggle with raw material costs and volatility. Understand my point on this particular section. We want to, in a circular supply chain, in nutshell, we are consuming the discarded product. So basically, there is nothing being wasted. Even the discarded product is also not wasted. Residual value of that product is also not wasted. It is being again reused in the same supply chain where it had created a value. The meaning is the supply chain is automatically getting some raw material from that discarded product. It is getting a value addition from that. So it makes the total supply chain cost effective. And this is the reason why circular supply chain, you can see many products, especially on the poly bags, if you can see, or you can see the papers made from recycled, even clothes recycled, correct? There are many things. In the time to come, the concept of recycle is getting more and more stronger because the resources on earth are limited. Population is growing. Demand curves are increasing. And to support this demand curve, we have to have the recirculation of the left out products or the waste material or the discarded material, which gives circular supply chain a great strength. Agile supply chain. We saw a circular supply chain advantage over linear supply chain. But now what is agile supply chain? Agile supply chain is in collaboration with artificial intelligence. It allows you a great flexibility and receptiveness. And how it is, let me read first the paragraph, then I can explain the whole thing with an examples. The agile supply chain focuses on flexibility and receptiveness. It responds quickly to changes in demand, customer preferences, and industry. It's made to handle unpredictability in the market through postponement, waiting to see what the market will dictate before finishing product. The meaning is here, agile supply chain supports the change in customers' mood, change in customers' preferences, customers' demand. Customer may be liking a specific color of jacket yesterday, but now the market trend is changing and a specific color is being floated in the market now or in the high demand. Agile supply chain create an environment from raw material to finished good in the hands of customer that it allows the customer preference to be accommodated. It dictates the production cycle to disrupt the type of product they are manufacturing right now and to change the product pattern, product type as per the customer's demand today or as per the customer's feedback. It is more focused towards the customer preferences. Supply chain, you can see the whole supply chain, it's a mammoth of activities, huge processes. But the agile supply chain, they try to maintain it so light that one small changes from the customer or the market pattern can be easily accommodated and the demand product can be created. If the customer needs that demand product today, and if the supply chain is bulky, heavy, probably you are able to supply that product to the customer maybe after 1 week or 1 month. By that time, probably the customer demand might have changed. Especially in the software industry, this kind of supply chains are very effective, where apps are getting outdated next hour. Better apps are coming, that is respecting the customer demand. So this is called an agile supply chain. Definitely the West is already taken care here. The circular supply chain properties are already taken care here. But here, even the productivity is controlled or modulated as per the customer demand curve or just customer choices. That's why it's called agile, flexibility in the system. And they travel a very light. You will not find a huge raw materials pile up, huge finished goods or product in inventory on roads is very less, correct? So the point here is this agile supply chain is very light from start to end and very focused on meeting the customer satisfaction and customer demand. Now, the basic question asked normally, should we get into this business? Is it a good field to be a manager or to run a business of your own in supply chain? Supply chain management is an upcoming branch, very high degree of future prospects, because everything will be moving under the concept of supply chain. As I told in my previous session, supply chain management is not something a new technology in the world. It exists from centuries and decades. But it gets improvised, it gets, more right word is, it corrects itself as per the market situations. Supply chain patterns, processes change as per the market demands, as per the market requirements. So that's why and in the coming time, when the global market, like all the market has become like a one single market, the global markets are single market, one unit. At that time, goods and services are traveling across the countries, cross countries, correct? So at that time, supply chain plays a very important role, where you are not only focused on the demand curves or the forecast methodology or the raw production patterns of your one area. Your raw material is coming from one country, you are manufacturing in second country, and you are supplying to the third country. This is what now the global supply chain is happening across the world. So supply chain manager accordingly role is very responsible, even if you are owning your own business, or if you are working for somebody, for some enterprise as a supply chain manager. It's very critical, very important role to play and deliver the right demands and right outputs from the supply chain. So let's understand the supply chain manager. It could be you as your own owner, you are an entrepreneur, or you are working for some other enterprises. But in all scenarios, supply chain manager has a big role to play. Roles and responsibility in supply chain management. What are the roles and responsibilities comes in supply chain? First, create the company's supply chain strategy. This is very important. As you know, from the organizational behavior, the strategy comes third. The first comes vision and mission, and that vision and mission is supported with a strategy. Strategy is the thing which drives you and which is further responsible for creating the processes and activities subsequently. So what should be our supply chain strategy? You want an agile supply chain, you want a circular supply chain, it depends on us. And what will be the sourcing points, what will be the production points, what will be the distribution network, everything. So company has to create a supply chain strategy. Next important thing comes maintaining supply chain inventory and records. So there should be an inventory management system. It manages labor cost, personal productivity, inventory levels, data accuracy, and stocking strategies. These are also part of supply chain management. And supply chain management, if you are a global business unit, majority of the works which are labor intensive, but over a period of time going to come, that labor intensive work will be used or will be done by the machines at a larger scale, and it is growing. That percentage of replacing the labor intensive work by man or human is being replaced by the machines, and this percentage is increasing, and especially with the introduction of artificial intelligence, these numbers are increasing. So at that point of time, whether you make in USA or you make in any other country, the cost will be, production cost will be, because your mechanized system, probably that variation of labor cost may not play that much important role. But whenever you are doing it, these are very important parameters to be considered. Productivity is very important, which is productivity indicates to you, because that is a very concerned matter of human resources. Because if you focus on the productivity, probably you may land up with a huge number of man hours or man days. So how to deal with it? with the productivity concern is very important. Inventory levels, data accuracy. Inventory levels are very important. As I repetitively give this example, the Japan works on just in time. It is not that is their choice. It's like they like it. No, it's not like this. When we say inventory level just in time means when I need something today, I'll get it today. I need not to bring it yesterday and keep it on my shelf. There are two benefits of it. Number one, you don't rush or you don't block your cash flow, point number one, and you don't occupy the space unnecessary for that. So that is called, in place of inventory on shelf, the concept is inventory on wheels. So product A, which is essentially required to make product B, it is manufactured and it comes on wheels and reaches B, so that B can be made with the same product A. So the product is not being stagnated anywhere. The raw material or the subgroup of a product is on wheels always. So that's inventory levels need to be also addressed with optimized concept. Data accuracy. See, the whole game of supply chain is based on data accuracy. Otherwise, supply chain have no meaning, has no purpose. You should have right data of raw materials inventory. You should have the right data of production pattern of raw material. You should have the right logistic data. You should have right inventory data, warehouse data for raw material, finished good, or the goods ready to be used by the production houses or the operation houses. The conditions and the performance of your operation houses. Inventory of finished goods, inventory on wheels, inventory in the distribution centers. There could be global distribution center, national distribution centers, regional distribution centers, state distribution centers, or the local town distribution centers. And the most important thing is the acceptance of your product by the consumers. That means the demand curve or the forecast, to make the right forecast. That's why data accuracy is very important. Otherwise, it's a simple logistic business. Stocking strategies. What stocks need to be put at which warehouse, in which season, which country need to be supplied with what stocks. So these are all the things which need to be as a part of roles and responsibility in supply chain management. Measures and report on the effectiveness of departmental activities and operations. That's very important. That is another kind of data. Why the production levels are less? Because of man or machineries. Why your inventory, why your delivery durations have increased from 2.5 days to 3.5 days average for this month. These are the data which indicates the effectiveness of your logistic department. And evaluate and report on KPIs, key performance indicators. In supply chain, say just I gave an example. If your KPI is a logistic KPIs of finished goods to be distributed to a particular region, should be within 2 days or within 1 day, for example. So that becomes your key performance indicator, and you keep checking on weekly basis and monthly basis, quarterly basis, where you are moving. If you are good, you are meeting your KPI, does not mean that you will meet your KPI tomorrow. You met your KPI till today, yes, that's a fact. But to maintain that KPI evaluation or to meet the KPIs, key performance indicator, continuously, you have to deal with real-time data and data accuracy. And the most important thing always, human resource need to be updated on your business models. So you have to train and you have to guide your employee to do a right kind of work for you. That's the most important thing. They should understand the overall objective of supply chain. And they should understand one thing, that their delay is not only accounted as a delay against them or delay on their head. No, it is impacting the production of something and the starving of customer ultimately. If you are an ancillary supply chain management, and for example, your ancillary supply chain management for any car manufacturer in India, in Canada, in USA, or in Japan, you have to remember that you are, if you are a steering wheel manufacturer or you are a windshield manufacturer and you are supplying to a big brand, that big brand's daily production may get impacted if your deliveries do not reach in time to them. So the employees should be integrated with the vision and mission of supply chain management, respecting the strategies laid down. Now, roles and responsibilities in logistics and warehouse, which is a component, but a critical component. We are going to see logistics and warehouse in subsequent sessions in more details. But the logistics and warehouse, what's their roles and responsibilities under the overall umbrella of supply chain management and as an individual block. Analyze data from shipping and delivering processes to find bottlenecks and other issues. You don't find bottlenecks every time, but at the same time, you must keep analyzing the data. The average, last month average of your shipping in terms of days, for example, was 30 days from one country to another country, or maybe 15 days. And your key performance indicator is 25 days. So you are very happy that you are much great because you are saving 10 days. That's really great. But at the same time, if this number start increasing 16 next month, then 18, that creates an alarm for you. And you must analyze why, what is the reason I'm not able to meet my own created earlier realistic data, which was 15, which I performed. And the second thing is, you need to revisit your KPIs also at a first case, that if your KPI you have put 25 days and you are able to achieve your objective in 15 days, that means your KPIs are misleading or most comfortable, and which is not a healthy situation. So that's the thing. So that's why in logistics, analyze data from shipping and delivering processes to find bottlenecks and other issues. That's the most important thing. Promote the design, development, and implementation of warehouse distribution and logistics solutions. Warehouse is one of the critical component of supply chain. It is the place where goods are kept for some duration, correct? Till the time two logistic channels are in parity. So it's basically warehouse connects two logistic channels, inbound and outbound. So warehouse work as a buffer. So accordingly, the warehouse must be in such a way that it is designed well, automized well, so it does not take more time to load, unload in the warehouse, correct? Right inventory levels are maintained, correct? So warehouse has to generate a lot of data. And those data need to be used in real-time mode in logistic management and in general and in overall supply chain management. Monitor and keep track of logistics and update the company's inventory. Yes, monitoring and control is one of the critical parameter in the business models everywhere, whether it's a project management, business management, supply chain management, operation management, anything. So the most important thing is, and the tracking means it should be a real-time tracking. As I gave one example in my earlier session, I would like to repeat that here again. If the logistics by roads, by trucks, if it is delayed, it's not reached the warehouse, supposed to reach today morning at 5 o'clock, but still 12 noon, it has not reached, correct? So still not reached, everyone knows it. But where it is right now, what's an issue? What is expected arrival time now? What is a difficult situation should be clearly known. That's the thing. The tracking means the real-time tracking. Next comes roles and responsibilities in operations. Operational performance need to be analyzed. Low productivity, high productivity, and average productivity. And the capabilities to perform at the minimum level and to perform at the stretch level should be clearly established. And this is the most important reason, because this is the place where you are converting raw material to a finished good for your customer. If you remove the block of operations, you have no product to be sold in the market. So that's why the operational performance is very critical, very important, correct? And you cannot have a fixed format for operational performance. As we discussed in our previous slides, in agile and things, where we are working towards the customer satisfaction and we are working for customers like you. At that point of time, we need to address our operational performance. We need to make an agile approach embedded in our operational performance. And we should be able to resolve the issues coming with challenges, coming with the change in demand for the type of productions, nature of productions, changes in products. Collaborate with vendors and suppliers to ensure all operations meet quality and safety standards. That's one of the very important things. You are the operation manager. Your focus area is your operations, your production lane. Shipping and deliveries are not your forte and you should not take on your head. We'll see the type of logistics coming up in the subsequent sessions. So but meaning is that when you are not doing it, your collaboration should be so effective with vendors and suppliers so that you meet the quality parameters, point number one, the quality of raw material at source. At the same time, the same quality is maintained during the logistics. So, and at the same time, safety standards also. So you have to make sure your raw materials, what you're getting is of the same quality which is desired to meet. And at the same time, your finished good reaches in the hands of customer, and that quality, because as a production house, as an operation house, you know much more better than anybody regarding the quality of your raw material, your input, and the quality of your output. The specifications of your product which you are going to give to your customer, you are the best known person, or you are the best judge to meet that quality requirement as per the production data sheets, product data sheets. And how to ensure the logistic specifications ensures that your quality as produced reaches to customer in the same format, and meeting the safety standards also. That's the most important thing. Safety should not be ignored in all the processes. So that's a kind of roles and responsibilities broadly comes to when it is called the operations. In general, whether it is an operation manager, it's a logistic manager, and mainly supply chain manager, who has a big role to play and who is more focused on bigger critical objective, strategic objective of the company. And these are for any managers. This is a very common kind of qualities, but one should definitely have good communication skills. That's very important. All the communication channels should be live and active for 24/7. A strong sense of ethics. That's very important. And when the talks of ethics comes, there are 3-4 more sentences, more words are there, and which are not only used in project management practices, they are used across the industries. That is called ownership, ethics, ownerships, honesty, fairness. So these are the things which should have imbibed in the manager who is leading the task. Commitment to quality, no compromises on quality. 1% or a 0.1% change in quality in general may lead to drop in your sales number in next quarter, or maybe in this quarter itself. Because it does not take more time for customer to say the product is not same as it used to be. Rather, it is always great to say by the customer that product has further improvised. It has new features. And that's the reason the mobile industry, which is the most rapidly changing industry right now, evolving, you can see every time when the next model comes, it comes with the better specifications. You will never see any new product has come with the inferior specifications. So the aim is you are giving better features, you are giving better quality. So your commitment is to not only to maintain the quality, to improvise the quality to your customer. Time management is very important. Mammoth of works are there, so and multiple activities are integrated in the matrix format with each other. So in that scenario, time management is very critical. Technology knowledge. In fact, I want to put technology knowledge as a first point now, before discussing all these points, because the next 10 years time duration, I'll talk not next 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, I'll just say 10 years. Technology is because of the integration or the presence of artificial intelligence in the industry now are changing very rapidly. So-called age-old business methodology will go under drastic disruption. One disruption is very clearly visible to the world and which has already occurred, which is change of internal combustion engine to the electrical vehicles. This is known to the world very clearly. It's a very open. But this is not the only disruption which is happening. Many things are happening because of the presence of artificial intelligence and which is not visible by our naked eyes. Many jobs which are done by humans will be replaced by now artificial intelligence. And many videos, YouTube videos are available on the internet. Please study that. Please look on them. Please have a, because the speed of change of technology has, because of artificial intelligence, is seeing an exponential growth now. Or if I say now, we have reached the 80% and above scenario of equal percentage characteristics. So the point here is, in spite of even exponential curve, I will say the industry will be following up the equal percentage curve, where in the beginning this progress is quite slow, but at the end it becomes very fast growth curve. So the supply chain manager should be a good technocrat. He should know what are the technologies are changing in the market. He should keep updating himself about the technology businesses. And that will help him to include the latest technology in the business models, in the supply chain, so that the supply chain becomes the sustainable things. The point is very simple. All the characteristics of taking the growth curve, new technologies, updating the products, design, everything is a normal part of the any manager. And especially we are talking of supply chain manager, so we'll talk supply chain manager. But the point here is, at that time, maybe 10 years before, the environment around you was growing slowly. But now, environment around us is growing very rapidly because of artificial intelligence. So when your environment is running very fast, you also have to run fast. And at the same time, you must understand what is the growth happening in your around, in the environment around you. That's why the tech knowledge, the techie, the supply chain manager should be a real-time techie, taking artificial intelligence, and which includes Internet of Things, robotics, 3D printing, blockchain, take all the names. So he should be well versed with all these things, and he's keeping updated about the technological growth. That's why any managing professional, why I'm stretching this point for discussion here, when you're looking for a business manager, you're looking for as a manager position for your own entrepreneurship, or as a self-entrepreneurship, or as a manager for other enterprises, you be a good techie, taking real-time requirements available in the market, taking the practices from the market about AIs and all the latest technologies. Now in the coming section of our session 2, we will try to see the supply chain management challenges, barriers, and problems. This is a general outlook of the supply chain. Probably you may be aware about a couple of them in detail, but just to because when we are dealing with that, we should know what are the real problems are happening in supply chain also, what are the challenges and what are the barriers. If I say challenges, cash flow is one thing. You remember that in our first session we discussed, in supply chain, product goes, the goods movement is from raw material to finished good. And the cash flow is in opposite direction, correct? So the meaning is, the meaning here is that once the unit 1 of raw material is converted to a product and it reaches the 1 unit of finished good in the hands of customer, the money start traveling for against that 1 unit. And once that money start traveling back, everybody gets their share of that sold price up to the raw material supplier, correct? So that is normally a cash flow. But the point here is the cash flow and the goods flow, they don't follow same pattern. And that is the gap industries are facing today, yesterday, and tomorrow. So there are many methodologies have been brought in for the cash flow, seamless flow, but still the cash flow, like morely banking intervention, online payments, and everything has eased out the cash flow issues. But the point here is, if the cash flow is not triggered by one of the key player in the whole supply chain management, in that scenario, the cash flow gets little disrupted as compared to the goods movement. So yes, the cash flow is a challenge. Lead time and delays. So the lead times and delays due to logistics, delay in anything, okay, delay in raw material, delay in production, and they will have their own genuine reasons. I'm not telling, because in such a competitive era, these things are not to the broader extents, they are having their reasons behind it. But these challenges need to be accommodated with the most possible reasons or most possible risk. Data management, exposure to risk, that's very important. Data management is data accuracy, how accurate your data are, and you are exposed to the risk, market risk, changing demand curves and everything. And that is always there. In fact, that is the only thing, that change in demand is only the real-time applications. And that is the real-time stuff which is happening in the market. Accountability and compliance. In the last slide, we talked of ownership responsibility, correct? See, the accountability comes with ownership. So the most important thing is the concept of ownership should reach up to the last employee of the organization who is contributing to the supply chain. And the compliances, it could be a compliance to the customer demand, it could be compliance to statutory requirement, environmental requirements. So that need to be always a challenge. Quality control and defects. See, it's a human and machine interface operations. So the quality control and defects do happen. There are best practices put in, best quality management procedures are put, best quality management standards are being adopted. But still, it remains an area of challenge. Language barriers and time zones. Yes, now you can easily correlate when I'm telling global market. Okay, so the global markets, time zones, correct? You can see, you can buy from one country the raw material and it is coming to you and you are going to make a finished goods, correct? But at the same time, the most important thing is that you're not able to understand because of the language barriers, correct? What is the reason exactly? You are doing meetings, but you're not able to understand them exactly. Time zones. Yes, we know that multiple time zones are there in our globe. So because of that, working hours are different and patterns of workings are different. So accordingly, that creates a challenge. Exchange rate and foreign transaction costs. We know that when you are doing an exchange, there is an exchange rate is there, okay, and there are transaction costs are there, Incoterms are there, letter of credits are there. So these are all the things which are challenges. And challenge means they are essentially required to be looked into. Their rate of changes are changing. Their rates are changing. Correct. Their transaction costs are changing over a period of time. So these are the challenges, because you estimate some project, you estimate some deliveries based on some assumption, but when it comes to realizing the deliveries, these things could impact. Correct. Labor shortage, equipment availability, and the ripple effect of global years old plant. So equipment availability, logistic supports availability, and global bottlenecks impacts definitely. It could be impacting the raw material, or it could be impacting your what you call it. It could be impacting your finished good or your consumer goods country. So yes, those are the things. So sometime what happened, your finished goods are ready, but you're not able to sell to the particular country because their demand curve has suddenly dropped. So you are piling up in your warehouses, or you're piling up in destination country. So that's the thing. And huge e-commerce growth. Remember that when I said the techie things in the last slide. So huge e-commerce growth is happening. Sudden shortages are happening. Centralized inventories are there. Limited or insufficient visibilities are there. Patchwork logistics are there. So these are all the additional, means they are continuation of challenges, adding to the basket of challenges for the supply chain. But these are known phenomena. Like, so a specific case-to-case basis, generally the things are risks are identified for each one of them, and potential impacts are identified, and the mitigation plan is always in place for these kind of things. So there is a mechanized system for these things, these challenges, to deal with them. But these are the known challenges. The point here is that problems. What are the problems now? Material scarcity. Yes. Increasing freight price. I said that the logistic rates have changed. When the price you bidded, there was a different freight price. Now it's a different freight price. And the freight was from your side. Difficult demand forecasting. Yes, that's the thing. Then port congestions. Yes, your finished goods are lying at the port for 1 month, but still could not able to be on ship. Changing consumer attitudes. Yes. Digital transformation. I'll bring always digital transformation in the first place, because rest what all you are seeing is existing, but this digital transformation is changing the scale. Restructuring and inflation. Yes, we know that. So these are the typical problems of a supply chain management, which is getting percolated to the operation management, which is getting percolated to logistic management. What are the barriers actually in supply chain? What is not written on the slide, but I will add extra 1 point before I read this point, is a lack of latest technology. That is one thing. That is one thing. Second is, now I'll read this, insufficient knowledge of other functions. See, supply chain management, I said that it's a involved procurement activity, involved logistics, it involves operations, it involves local distribution, it involves the customer, what you call it, customer dealings, correct? So the point here is that one function is not really aware about the other functions. knowledge. Lack of communication. In spite of all the communication channels are in place, still sufficient information through email, later, or verbal telephonic talk has not happened. Poor working relationship. Two different streams, their working relationship is not good. Or it's poor, it's not up to the mark. Conflicting goals. Yes, this is one of the good barrier, by the way. Production fellow says, my target is to make 100, I will make 100. Warehouse fellow is telling, look, already I have an inventory. Can you regulate your production so that I can push this, but then you can, after that, you can give it to me. But he says, no, I have a target of producing 100, I will do that. So these are kind of conflicting goals are there. That is where the agile supply chain management methodology helps us, which gives the flexibility to increase your production, decrease your production, depending on the total floating inventory in the supply chain and the customer demand, most important. Lack of direction from senior management. So if the senior management directions are there, they are the limitations of supply chain. And the most important thing is when the supply chain management is implemented to that scale, the clear direction from senior management plays very important role. And that direction of senior management should be clearly visible to even the last employee of the organization. That will be synthesizing the individual employee of the company to work as per the company strategy of supply chain management. What are the strategies to improve supply chain? The strategy, correct? Optimize company-owned inventory. Yes. Don't keep anything unnecessary. Make a relationship with your vendors, your suppliers in such a way that inventory on the wheels is more. It does not mean that you reduce your inventory or you optimize your inventory, but you load your suppliers to build an inventory for you. No, that's not the way. By improving distribution network, you are not going to load neither your supplier, neither your distributors in the network to maintain the more inventories. Make a supply chain council. Yeah, that's very important pattern. Make all the key players of each location, each group, each segment as a part of main supply chain council, who knows the KPIs of others and who knows their own KPIs. Induction of technology is very important. Build healthy supplier relationship, win-win situation. That makes the whole supply chain light. Review procedures regularly. Yes, this is very important. You write some procedure 3 years before, now that is obsolete. There are some clauses in that procedure, they are no more existing. But still you want to run with that procedure. So what happens? That procedures loses the test of real time, and then employees start losing interest in that procedure. And accordingly, that procedure becomes obsolete by its own. So you must keep updating your procedures. Take the online suggestion on the procedures. Keep it a live and dynamic document. Anybody is there to suggest, to improvise that procedure. Accept the suggestions. Changes, do the necessary changes in the procedure so that everybody follows that procedure. If the real-time updated procedure is always available, majority of the problems are resolved. visibility of real-time procedure is very important. Establish green initiatives. The world is talking of green initiatives and world is working on green initiatives. So you cannot be away from that. And green initiatives mostly also encourages to reduce your energy cost. Reduce the carbon dioxide footprints, carbon footprints. So that's why establish the green initiatives. With this, we will hold our session to here. And we would like to discuss more on supply chain, warehouse management, inventory management, correct? The technology is going to come in, the latest technologies which are being talked about in supply chain management, Incoterms in the coming sessions, type of logistics, correct? One party, two party, 1PL, 2PL, 3PL, 4PL, 5PL, 6PLs, correct? So the 6-party logistics. So the very interesting phenomena are there in supply chain management, which we'll